If you hood educated, I'm glad you made it. Allow me to unfold my knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from a hood brother's point of view to all of you, here, there, and everywhere. Now check me out.
Well, tonight, former LSU wide receiver Kyren Lacy turned himself in on charges related to a hit and run that killed a man. Lacy declared for the draft after graduating in December. Now, he could be charged with negligent homicide. Good evening and thanks so much for watching. I'm Whitney Miller. Lacy bonded out of jail less than 2 hours after turning himself in. We were the only news outlet there as he arrived at the Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office. You can see him enter the building and speak with several state troopers, then get led to the back. The crash happened last month in Jack Bay. State police say a Dodge Charger was driving southbound on Highway 20. The driver sped up and crossed into the northbound side to pass multiple cars in front of them, even though it was a no passing lane. A car in the northbound lane stopped to avoid being hit, which caused the car behind them to swerve and hit another vehicle head on. The Charger sped off, and 3 people from 2 of those cars were taken to the hospital. One 78-year-old man, Herman Hall, died not long after. Investigators identified the Charger as belonging to Kyren Lacy. State police issued an arrest warrant for him, and tonight he turned himself in. Authorities tell us he faces charges of negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation.
This right here is the worst. I'm talking about this is bad, this is sad, this is unfortunate. And let me explain to y'all why I say all that. All Kyren had to do is stop the car, call 911, first responders, and explain to them what happened. If he would have did that, he probably would have been just looking at a reckless driving charge. Why hood educated? Somebody done lost their life. I understand that, but here it is. What was his intention? Did he intend for that car to crash? Did he intend for the 78-year-old man to die? No, he didn't intend to do that. No, he didn't intend to do that. But once he fled the scene of the crime now. Oh yeah, no. You running? You ain't even, call 911 or nothing? Oh yeah, no, we can body slam you now. Yeah, because you acting like a criminal. So now we can treat you like one. But here it is. We have a death. We have a 78-year-old man that lost his life, that didn't deserve to lose his life. He with his wife, they just riding down the highway. And here come this boy right here making bad decisions and caused them to crash, and the man lost his life as a result of the crash. Check it out.
Herman Hall's life is remembered in photos from beloved moments that are now cherished memories. The doting father, grandfather, and American hero served 2 tours in Vietnam, proudly fighting for his country.
He loved to garden. He loved to ride his bike. He used to ride his bike like 28 miles a day. I don't know. He just told great stories. He loved his family. He loved his friends.
His daughter, Heather Dickerson, remembers a happy home and a magical childhood.
He's a hard worker. He gave us a great life.
Hall's life was tragically cut short a week before this past Christmas, after Dickerson says her parents went to run some routine errands. When they were coming back home on Highway 20 near Perez Lane in Jack Bay, state police say a Dodge Charger, swerving and speeding, caused a major crash. Mangled metal is all that remains from the crushed cars, the front ends folding in from the intense impact. Inside the SUV were Dickerson's parents, who were both wearing seatbelts. Dickerson remembers calling her parents moments after the crash happened.
She said, "We just got in a wreck." I said, "You just got in a wreck? What are you talking about?" She said, "Yeah, we got in a head-on collision. The car's totaled." And I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." She's like, "My chest hurts, but maybe it's from the seatbelt or the airbag."
As the investigation began, sources say state police found surveillance video from a nearby business that revealed LSU standout 24-year-old Kyren Lacy's Dodge Charger was involved in the crash. Investigators allege Lacy drove around the scene and fled south on LA Highway 20 without stopping to render aid, call emergency services, or report his involvement in the crash. The wreck so severe, Dickerson's mother broke multiple bones, but she was not really processing what had just happened.
And I was like, okay, well, how's Dad? And she said, he's fine, he's complaining that his back hurts. And I was like, okay. She's like, well, I have to go. And so she hangs up, and I was like, so then she calls me back. And she said, hey, they're gonna airlift your dad to UMC. I was like, wait, what? Airman? What are you talking about? You said he was okay. She's like, oh, well, he'll be fine. So apparently she was in shock.
Paramedics rushed Hall to New Orleans, where he was pronounced dead.
Touchdown! Kyren Lacy! And LSU wins!
Prior to the crash on December 17th, Thibodaux native Kyren Lacy had a future full of limitless possibilities. The 24-year-old just entered the NFL draft. He's a homegrown Bayou boy, graduating from Thibodaux High, eventually moving on to play football at the University of Louisiana Lafayette, where he quickly became a shining star. He transferred to LSU in 2022, where his performance on the field was revered by his college teammates and recruiters. During his 5-year collegiate career at the University of Louisiana and Lafayette and LSU, he caught 162 passes for 2,360 yards and scored 26 touchdowns. Now, Lacy finds himself on the wrong side of the law, facing charges of negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation.
For someone to cause an accident like that and just keep going, like it didn't matter, some just stupidity, honestly. Like, I mean, how can you be in that much of a hurry? This is the time of year. There's cane trucks. We 2-lane roads. There's no shoulders. Highway 1, 308, Highway 20. It's dangerous roads. Like, you need to be responsible.
Dickerson says she's in disbelief, losing her father 8 days before Christmas.
Tomorrow's never promised. You never know when your last day, your last breath will be.
She wants to see Lacy pay for his alleged actions.
I'm confident there will be justice, but no, I won't stop.
No matter who it is?
No, I don't care who it is. No, I mean, they wouldn't. If the tables were turned, if it were them, they wouldn't stop.
Hall's wife, who was driving the car, has a long road to recovery. I'm told state police are in communication with Lacy's lawyer, who says his client will turn himself in once he returns to Louisiana from a trip out of state. In Baton Rouge, I'm Chris Nakamoto.
Now, as y'all can see, this is not just no regular person. This is not just no regular. This is a veteran. This man right here went and fought for the freedoms of the United States of America. This. You see, and they saying that he was a part of law enforcement. So, come on. We got to be 100 here. All those type of things right there play a role in the charging and all that type of stuff. But, again, this man didn't deserve to lose his life because of somebody else's bad decisions. But that's what happened. And that's what we dealing with. Now, this boy done ruined his whole life. And according to reports, done took his life, steady making bad decisions. Steady making bad decisions. Now, it's been all over the internet. When I go on Instagram, I look in the comment section, I'm seeing a lot of people saying that, the reason why he killed himself because he was scared to go to jail. And when I think about that, I say, well, that could have possibly played a role in his bad decision making. But then I think about him turning himself in. People that are scared to go to jail, they don't turn themselves in. They run and they keep running. until they get caught and they are forced to be in jail. But people that fear jail, they don't turn themselves in. Not only that, he didn't know if he was going to get a bond or not. They could have said no bond, bond denied, and he would have been sitting in jail. He got up and went and turned himself in with his lawyer. So I don't know if that was the major piece in him, taking his own life. Because here it is, I believe in my mind, right? I believe that he had a good defense against the negligent homicide. Y'all might be saying hood educated. The boy was driving in the car. He swerved over. He caused the accident. How can he have a good defense for the negligent homicide? Okay, now, by show of hands, for all of you who believe and think like that, by show of hands, how many of y'all can put him in the car? How many of y'all can put him behind the wheel driving when the accident happened? The prosecuting attorney, the police, they never said that they put him behind the wheel. They just said that it was his car. But they couldn't tell who was driving. Am I saying this because I want him to get away with a negligent homicide? No, I'm just saying this because who can put him behind the wheel? All his lawyer probably did, and all his lawyer could have did, was just go in there and just say, "Hey, look, we turning ourselves in. All right, cool, but we're not guilty of the charges. Prove to us that you can put him behind the wheel. Prove to us that he was driving his car." How many times do we let people use our car? You see what I'm saying? Prove that he was driving. You can't. There's no witnesses. According to what I read, there's no witnesses putting them in the car. There's no friends putting them in the car. All they know is that's his car. That's a shadow of a doubt, if you ask me. That right there is a shadow of a doubt. Because we got to understand this right here, y'all. In order for them to charge him with the negligent homicide, they got to prove that he was behind the wheel and that he is the one that caused the accident by driving recklessly. They got to be able to prove that in a court of law. And from everything I read, I got to say it again. I ain't see nothing about him driving. Now, y'all might say, well, hood educated. The police gonna say, well, hey, who was driving? That's not his job to tell them who was driving. All his lawyer got to do is just say, hey, check it out. Go do y'all investigation. We told y'all that it wasn't him. Now y'all got to find out who was driving. You see what I'm saying? So he had a good defense. So that's why, like, when people are saying that, he was scared to go to jail and all this old type of stuff, to me, if he had a good lawyer, hey, man, I wasn't driving. I ain't got to prove nothing. Y'all, the burden of proof is on the prosecution. The burden of proof is on the state. Y'all got to prove all this stuff. I ain't got to do nothing but just sit here and say, hey, look, it wasn't me. Now, I understand pressure. You was just finna go to the draft. Kyren was just finna go to the draft. He done caught this charge. But it gets deeper. It's more to the story. Here it is. He gets into an argument in Houston. He gets into an argument with one of his family members. And in this heated argument, he produces a handgun and shoot it in the floor. Bad decision again. You on bond for negligent murder. You can't be shooting no guns and arguing with peoples and do any violent acts. You already negligent homicide charged. That right there is going to deny everything because now you being negligent with a firearm. Bond denied. Go sit in jail. You see what I'm saying? Bond denied. You're not going to go join the NFL or none of that. Everything is over with. Bad decisions. So after he gets into it with his family member, he flees the scene, jump into his whip. He gone. The family member called the law. Hey, look, check this out. This boy right here, he acting crazy. He done shot in the floor. This is a female family member that he was arguing with. She give him great details about who he is, the vehicle, and everything, according to the reports. Minutes later, they see him. Police get behind him. They flash him. What he do? No, he don't pull over. He put him on a high-speed chase. Bad decision. Now, he's on a high-speed chase. The police is behind him. All this pressure now is building up more and more. Then he decides to shoot himself while in the high-speed chase. I can only assume that he started losing consciousness or he started losing blood, and that's when he crashed. But they said once he crashed, he shot himself again, ending his life. Unfortunate situation. I'm talking about bad decision after bad decision. It don't got to be that way. I understand that the pressures of life can get to you. The pressures of life get to all of us. Anybody that's trying to live, anybody that has some type of life, the pressure is going to come sometime. But at the same time, after the pressure, you got to understand something beautiful could happen. Sometimes you just got to go through that pressure. You got to look through that pressure. You got to battle with that pressure. And don't let that pressure break you. But unfortunately, pressure busts pipes. And that's just the reality of the game. That's just the reality of life. Now, back to what everybody was saying. Like I said before, I believe that is a piece of what happened. Him not wanting to go to jail, his career being over, all the pressure that was put on him as a kid growing up to be, this football player and things like that. And he finally got there, then he ruined everything. The pressure. Now he's arguing with his family members, shooting guns and all that. The pressure. But more than anything, I'm more leaning towards what his father had to say. And I believe that right there is the main component and why he just started acting recklessly and why he started making all these bad decisions and ultimately taking his own life. Check it out. Young parents, start talking to your kids at a very early age and make sure they are confident and comfortable confiding in you. Don't be cool with I'm alright or I'm good when you know deep down something isn't right. Mental health is real, and for the most part, it is invisible. Don't ignore the signs, even if they may seem small. Our lives have been changed forever, and this will never be okay. But God needed my baby more than he was needed here. This has to be the biggest pill our family have had to swallow, but I know the love and compassion in our families will get us through. This will never get easier, but we'll learn to live with it. Check on your kids' mental. Mental illness. It's not a game. It's real. And in the black community, it's shunned upon because for us, we think that, hey man, you should be strong enough. You can't control yourself. You can't control what you thinking. Man, come on, you weak or something like that. So when we go through mental illnesses and stuff like that, we kind of like cope alone, right? We don't speak out about it. When we having all these crazy thoughts, we don't talk about it. We just sit there and just go through the madness all by ourselves until we start crashing out. Like this young brother just did. We start crashing out. We just start doing dumb stuff. Bad decisions. But let me tell you something. For those of you, for those of us, that sometimes get up under the weather, sometimes get up under that pressure, man, go talk to somebody. You ain't always got to go talk to a psychiatrist. You can go talk to somebody that you trust. And if you got a stigma of going to, doctors or psychologists or psychiatrists of different race, find you a black psychiatrist. Find you a black psychologist. And sit down and unfold in front of this person. Because this person right here has been trained, has went to school to help you cope with the pressures of life. Understand that. And it works. If it didn't work, we wouldn't have psychologists. We wouldn't have psychiatrists right now today if it didn't work. So if you ever going through something, and it's getting tough, come on, go get you some help. And if your children going through something, just like, Kenny Lacy said, Kyren's father said, man, don't, when your kids going through something, don't just let them say, I'm good, I'm okay. No, sit down and chop it up with them. Are you really good? What's going on? Talk to me about this. This is serious. You know what I'm saying? Have your kids feel free to come and unfold with you. So you can be their psychiatrist. You can be their psychologist. You can be the person that they trust. You see what I'm saying? So throughout this whole thing, I just keep coming back to bad decisions. Now, what have we learned from this whole demonstration? The first thing that we learn is this right here. Mental health is for real. Don't play with your mental health. If you need some help, go out there and go get you some help. Quit playing. The second thing we learned is this right here. Everything that happened to Kyren can happen to any one of us. Especially if we are in our vehicles and we driving recklessly. You driving crazy, you cause an accident and somebody died within that accident and you keep driving, or even if you stop, you in a lot of trouble. You in felony type trouble. And they can hit you. If they want to play, they can hit you with the negligent homicide. You understand? They can definitely hit you with that. Reckless driving and all that. They can if they want to. Now you in a position where you got to try to fight for your life, fight for your freedom. And the mass majority of us, we ain't got no money like Kyren. We can't go turn ourselves in and then bail out for 150-something thousand. We ain't got it like that. So we gonna end up sitting there. So when you riding, you in your fast car or whatever it is, man, drive how you supposed to drive. Don't be driving all reckless and all that, causing people, because that man didn't have to lose his life. This man right here is 78 years old, got family, got kids with his wife. Just minding their business. Trying to get out of the way of somebody that's driving reckless. So understand that none of us is exempt from everything that Kyren went through. None of us is exempt for causing the brother Hall from losing his life if we're driving recklessly. This is Hood Educated, not Lame Related. Peace and love, and y'all take care of yourself out there. If I said anything that caused you to think, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. And if you're feeling generous, please make a small donation to the channel. Peace and love.